Hello, friends.
Hello.
Algorithms. We've all heard that word, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have an inkling that these impact our lives in big ways. But few of us know what an algorithm is, or exactly what impact it has, or how to mitigate that impact and get back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, it's like they're always running.
They're always
in the
running in the
background.
background.
Ooh, like subliminal messaging.
Seriously. So today we're going to talk about this and try to understand this from a more of a perspective of people that are trying to not just be totally hypnotized by our media world. But first, we have a channel update that we want to share with you. So we've been thinking, huh?
That's kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
At least for us.
This has been happening for a long time. This feeling that we have amazing people as patrons on Patreon. We have this amazing crowd of people here on YouTube.
You are all awesome.
Yeah.
That's what we think about a lot.
That's what we're trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're all a big part of our lives in the sense that you're commenting, writing us, and so there's a feeling of connection for us. You probably feel a feeling of connection with us through these videos, but there's not a lot of back and forth interaction.
Or ways for you and you and you and you and you to all talk to each other, or all of us to somehow interact. I think we've been longing for that for a while. The ability to be able to kind of be in the same space together.
And a big part of this is going to come back to algorithms, because we've heard from some of you that we're the only thing you watch on YouTube, which is a huge honor. Or us, and then just a couple other channels. These are people that are way more disciplined than myself and choose their content very, very consciously.
So wise, so wise.
But that's tough to do because the algorithms, right? So if I plug into YouTube, I'm going to get bombarded by a whole bunch of suggested videos. And those suggested videos are going to be oddly interesting to me.
Gosh, this is so almost deja vu.
Almost, yeah, like it's curated just for me.
I'm sorry, there have been some creepy times.
Oh, yeah.
Creepy times. I mean, was there something with the Amish or something? Do you remember? There was some situation where we didn't even,
The electric eel? Do you remember the electric eel? This is after somebody told us that your phone is basically spying on you the whole time.
Yeah, recording what you say, and then advertisers are paying for the information and then putting up but weird stuff.
Yeah, talking about electric eel, and then an hour later, there's never been an electric eel video popped up for us. And
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway. Yeah, so there's all those oddly interesting to you personally videos.
And in this weird way, what we're doing here on ReWild U is about getting off of screens. But we're ironically, whenever I tell people what we do, ironically, we're using screens to try to get people off of screens, to inspire people off of screens. So in a roundabout way, what this is coming to is we've been wishing that there was a way that we could connect with all of you in a deeper way, that you could have access to our videos outside of the algorithm. So if you wanted to go see ReWild U stuff, first of all, you'd get notifications of our videos, and you wouldn't get those notification videos along with those incredibly tempting cat videos.
Because YouTube doesn't often, there's a lot of times you've said to us, why are we not getting your notification? We're like, what are you talking about? We have all these videos we're doing. So anyway.
Yeah, and who knows what's going on there. But the reality that we know is that we're bombarded with tons and tons of stuff.
How come nobody votes for the people who make the algorithms?
Yeah, they're
okay. Anyway, sorry.
It's it's made for profit, so
of course
it's going to promote the videos, for instance, on YouTube that are, we're getting ahead of ourselves here, that are going to generate the most revenue for YouTube. And so that's kind of what we have going on. And that maybe is not the deciding factor that we want to have when we're deciding what is presented to us as far as information goes. So
I interrupted you because you were saying we want all of you to be able to have an algorithm-free experience of the things that we offer. Yeah.
So you probably know we've been doing Patreon for a long time, and that's been just a total boon for our family, making it possible for us to continue doing these videos.
Yeah, pretty much we could not do that if we didn't have you guys as patrons.
Yeah, no, that's
you guys and gals.
That's 100% true. And the thing with Patreon is that it's always been a paywall. And I know some of you are opposed to Patreon completely, and so I totally, understand that. But for those of you who aren't, the problem before was that there's this paywall. So if you wanted to be there, you had to be donating at least $1 or whatever to us as patrons. But Patreon has changed that so that now you can be free patrons. Everybody has that option. So you can be part of this, and it won't cost you anything if you just don't have money, or it's really tough for you. You don't think that you want to, support us financially. Whatever your choice, that's awesome. And now there's a way to join for free. And the thing about that is that when you sign up for Patreon and then you're on there, you can get notifications, and you can get direct notifications of everything that we do coming right to your inbox, or however you structure your notifications on there. And wow.
But wait.
No algorithm saying, look at this. Right.
There's no algorithm.
You escape the algorithm.
Is that for real?
Yeah, that's for real. So, not technically. We learn exactly what an algorithm is. But we're escaping the being bombarded with a bunch of other material.
Essentially, we're avoiding the aisle in the checkout where there's all the candy and magazines and all the things you still need that are like, oh, buy me, you need me, right?
Yeah. And, Patreon could probably make a lot more money if they would just bombard us. But the way they're doing things, as far as I know, on the user side, when you go there, you're going to see on your page the people that you are specifically subscribed to and the notifications from them, or have those notifications sent to your phone or whatever. So here's a way to connect up with ReWild You in a more intimate, sort of connected way. So what we're trying to do is expand our Patreon. And again, totally free. You can go there, you can get notifications, algorithm free, of all of our content that we put out. We're going to start putting out some content just for people that are patrons there. And then we are trying to create some way for people to kind of community up.
Can I talk about that?
Yeah. We had a fail.
Oh, I understand why it's called Discord. No, I don't mean that in a negative.
Discord's awesome.
Discord is so great. It's so great. We maybe just aren't meant to use it. Let's just put it that way. Do you want to? You go. Yeah.
Patreon has this thing where you can sync it up with Discord. So we recently tried to do this, and it would have been super slick. People could have automatically, essentially, as when you're a patron, have access to this Discord. The sync didn't work. We did a soft launch, and I also heard from people that were just saying, I don't want to have another app. I'm a patron, but don't want to try to figure out this Discord thing. A lot of you are trying to have less tech in your life.
Us too.
Maybe, yeah.
That was part of it. It was like, wait, if this is so problematic and we're going to have to actually manually sign each individual person up, whoa.
And it wasn't quite that bad, but there was going to be a manual thing for every single person for me, essentially.
Right, that's what I just said.
Yeah. Not signing up, but. Yeah.
No, you know what I mean. Yeah. Anyway, we looked and we tried to make an intelligent call that said, this isn't working for everyone. Hence the video here asking, what could work? What is interesting? What would feel kind of yummy and fun? Because
yummy, that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, what would you want to connect about? Do you want to connect on a more intimate basis? We've got the ability to do live streams. Patreon is potentially going to roll out within the next 6 months a chat community option just within Patreon, we could try to wait for that.
So there's no extra app to sign up.
Yeah. And what are some other things? Are there other?
We haven't ruled out Discord, so we still could do Discord.
Yeah.
We're going to have a bunch of options. You know what we're going to try to do is a poll.
Yeah.
So this is on the community tab. I've never done anything with this or used one on YouTube. But apparently if you go to our community tab on our channel, there's going to be a poll there that hopefully will be up and we'll be able to
hopefully we'll be able to get it to work.
And we'll have a bunch of options there. So the main question is, do you want to connect more? Do you think it would be awesome to connect more with us? And do you think it would be cool to connect with each other? And if so, we're going to have some options there and want to hear from you. What sounds best to you?
Yeah.
And that'll give us a way forward.
And, maybe even have an option to just, I don't know if this is possible or not, but kind of topics, because we had some ideas for topics within the Discord chat that would be fun for people to communicate about. So, if there were certain things, we want to hear from you directly. And so we're trying. But algorithms, they make it tough.
They do make it tough. Yeah. So if you're not into Patreon, awesome. But if you are okay with it, then I'd urge you to go sign up, become a free patron there.
Or if you want to support us, we're not going to argue about that.
No, that's our life. So
that allows us to keep doing these, and we're just grateful. But if you want to be free, be free.
Free.
Right.
And the key here is that we're going to be trying to add more and more goodies and make that a more vibrant community. Don't know exactly how yet. Your poll is going to tell us more, but that's the beginning. Go become a part of that and we'll connect more. It'll be fun. So these algorithms, what is an algorithm? Do you have an idea? So you're unschooled.
Oh gosh, I don't know. So what I assume.
Thank you.
What I guess, this is my guess, I'm not even going to call it educated guess, is that some interface. Okay, I'm on YouTube. Let's pretend YouTube, because I know search engines do it too. I'm going along and I'm entering information, and some of that information is available to the other side of that whatever engine or platform, and it's taking that and I don't know, turning it into ones and zeros or whatever, but then recalibrating it and going, okay, when such a percent of this hits this, and then this is like a layered thing that when it hits the right buttons, ba-ping, then the gumball drops down and then video X is selected.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think it's so prevalent, when we're shopping, it collects stuff we click on and look on, and then it makes suggestions for you in other places, and it's really kind of freaky. If someone did that in our real world, you would say, stop stalking me. So anyway, that's my kind of top of my head guess.
Yeah, so that's pretty darn good.
In a long-winded way. Sorry about that.
In its most stripped down version, an algorithm is just a rules by which a calculation is made.
Okay.
So we've had algorithms since time immemorial. Algorithms.
When the universe began, so too did the algorithms.
There were, mathematics was being used to determine astronomical things in the past, and
useful. We're not saying they're not useful.
Yeah, these have been around as long as we've had kind of civilization. But when we're talking about them today, we're usually speaking about algorithms that are working on computers and how they affect us. If we think we want to escape algorithms altogether, we're not going to do it. If you drive, the traffic light is on an algorithm. A lot of washing machines now are using an algorithm.
So you're just saying that I cannot escape algorithms?
Yeah, it's probably...
Because I wanted a t-shirt. Said I finally escaped the algorithm.
Yeah. Well, in the algorithm, in the sense we're going to be talking about here,
but you're saying they work in a lot of things in our life, which probably are good.
Yeah.
We want stoplights to, turn when there's a million cars and not,
Right. So they're going to adjust to different factors. And so, many normal, mundane things being used in cars, etc. But then in some ways that people don't understand. So for instance, in Wisconsin, there's a private company that has designed a program that runs an algorithm that looks at a person that has committed a crime as they're being sentenced, and then suggests to the judge how much of a sentence they should have
Wait,
based on all
whoa.
these factors. Yeah.
Wow. Boy, that makes me wonder what's going to happen as AI gets more involved.
That's happening, and this is problematic because this is being used in some countries for different systems that have to do with social structure and prosecution and other things like that.
That's creepy.
Yeah, and so
I mean, I can see where in some ways, okay, that'd be really great because then, like you think of AI, it can crunch all this stuff and look at things so much more deeply than a human could. But yet, especially in the case of that kind of
the sentencing, yeah,
I don't know. But then again, I mean, who's to say that any judge isn't equally? Anyway, that's a little conversation in my head that just happened. I'm like, wait, whoa, but this, but that. Anyway.
Yeah, we could definitely debate, whether looking at large amounts of data are going to create a more just, decision than the feelings of a judge at that time or whatever it is. So we can't knock these completely, and probably can't be free of them unless we want to go live in the woods for a while. 3-month really program nice. At ReWild U. Come live in the woods for 3 months.
For a little bit.
No algorithms. But we're talking about them as they apply, especially on search engines, especially on YouTube, if you use any kind of social media, because this is one of my pet things that I talk about a lot on this channel, is how information coming into our minds shapes our worldview. Yeah. This is not innocent stuff, just making a couple bucks for YouTube, yay.
Yeah.
What we watch, what we intake, influences us emotionally, mentally, influences our ideas about right and wrong, about the world. And often people are not aware of that hypnotism, essentially, that's going on. If we're not aware of it, this is where it gets scary.
Yeah.
Then it controls us. And you may have seen people in your life who started going down a rabbit hole, and pretty soon that became their obsession. And go ahead.
Well, I'm just thinking, because when you're on a search engine, eventually you're going to be given only those things that you have, how do I say this, interest in. So in a way you begin to, what's the word for that?
Some people call it a bubble, an information bubble.
I'm thinking about kind of a
confirmation bias.
Yeah, confirmation bias. Can you explain what I'm talking about?
Well, I mean, basically what's happening is that, let's say we go onto YouTube and I get interested in this theory that the porcupines have all come from a planet outside of our solar system. And I start watching a couple of videos of that. As soon as I watch one video, then the algorithm is going to hear that and it's going to start feeding and testing that out a little bit. Do you want more of this? It's very personalized. And so now I might get more and more videos of this. And the more I watch, the more it's going to feed that into me until this becomes a diet. So I like to watch martial arts videos often. If I'm just watching martial arts videos, I'll notice after a week or two, that's all I'm going to see. If I just watch bushcraft videos for a while, that's all I'm going to see. If I watch some video on, I don't know, some junk video about cats, right? Not cats are bad, but like a funny cat video, then it's going to start injecting those funny cat videos. It starts to give things to me. And if I didn't have willpower or discipline or some mindfulness, whatever I started on and it started feeding me would start to take over my viewing and get fed into my mind over and over.
I mean, in some ways, in entertainment wise, funny cat videos, you think, well, that's not too bad. But when you start talking about social things or political or religious, and you're talking about searches that you're doing, you don't ever get to see the other stuff that's out there. So suddenly you are seeing this one slice, and that's all that's coming in. And you could mistake, if you didn't know it, that that's truth, because that's all you get when you turn around and type it in. That's all that comes up. So that must be the reality of the world.
Yeah.
I know some people out there who choose to have, I think there are a few search engines where you can not have the algorithm applied in the same way. And then you can get to see all sorts of, and it's kind of cool to go there because it's like crazy. Some of it's not even, doesn't seem relevant to what you typed in, but that's more, to me, what is a kind of a sample of what's actually out there.
Yes. So if you sign out of YouTube, log out, and then sign in, or just look at YouTube without any, you're going to see different things. And if you go and look at a friend's YouTube, you're going to see different things. This is very true for Google, right? And most search engines. They're keeping track of what you have looked at. So when you go to Google, it's going to offer you up the most relevant information. But that may not be the most relevant. The most relevant information might be back on page 5.
Or 500.
Or 500. But how many people go to even the second page on Google? Not a lot. Usually we just look at those first. We accept what the algorithm has given us. And that's one of the big issues here, is that if we aren't aware of it, if we don't have the discipline or the mental power to take control of this, it will run us.
So what do we do?
Well, first of all, we just have to be aware. And this awareness that we've already talked about is, going and looking at somebody else's Google. You can even type in the same thing. We think Google looks at our words and decides what it's going to offer up. It's looking at our words. It's looking at our past history. It's looking at what's popular right now and trending. It's looking at what's getting the most
that
links.
explains a lot.
Yeah. So it's not just looking and giving us this, objective kind of information.
Yeah.
And Google's doing it. Facebook's doing it. Everything you do on your computer, if you're on the internet, is going to be influenced by these. So knowing that right away gives you a power, because it's no longer running on autopilot. We use that word every single time. It's no longer running automatically, invisibly, in the background. So awareness, that's number one and key. Then there are some things we can do.
Okay.
And this is different across the board as far as what is offered. So some things, like YouTube, for instance, has an autoplay feature. It might be on by default on yours. And what that's going to do is, as soon as the video is done, it's going to plug in something from the algorithm and start it up automatically. So you're starting to watch a second video.
It's like an IV drip.
Like this. Yes. And if you do not have some serious willpower, probably that video is going to grab you. The average person, when they sit down today to watch YouTube, they're stuck on that screen for an hour.
Wow.
And,
but think about it. That's kind of built into us. We're visual creatures. So we are drawn to something we read, something that is moving, something that has people's faces in it. So naturally, we can't even help it. It's kind of built into us.
Yeah. It's going to grab us. And it takes, honestly, a fair amount of mental strength to not be sucked into that. So on YouTube, you can turn off that autoplay. On Google, well, it's going to do its own thing. But there are other search engines, like Ecosia. I think DuckDuckGo. Right? I think so, yeah. Okay. Some of these search engines that do not keep track of your former searches, they still use an algorithm, right? All these things are using, in its most basic sense, an algorithm. However, the algorithm turns stickier when it starts watching what you do and then feeding you stuff based on what you've done in the past. You can see how it kind of makes sense, right? It's going to give me the stuff that's interesting to me because that's what I've watched before.
Right.
But anybody that's on a search for deeper knowledge or or continuing to learn more and gather more information, we don't want to be fed the same stuff over and over. But it's very attractive to our minds because then we get to say, I'm right. I'm right. Look, that person's saying it. That person's saying it.
That's a very comfortable feeling.
Oh, yeah. It's comfortable. And it's uncomfortable to get off the algorithm. It's uncomfortable to see information that might not fit our current worldview. But it's also very stimulating, and it helps us to grow. This is like so many things that we talk about in rewilding. It's the easy thing to do is just to get fast food every day. It's not the thing that's going to make you happy. It's not the thing that's going to add vibrancy to your life. That's going to be probably sourcing your food local, doing some foraging, cooking on your own. That's harder.
Yeah, less convenient.
Less convenient.
I mean, the algorithm, there's a convenient.
It's easy. And that's sold by our culture so much.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. That's going to make you happy.
Okay, so frankly, though, think about it right now. I mean, I don't want to say just since COVID, but it feels as though I meet a lot of people who just feel as though they have to be doing more to kind of keep the same place that they were at previously. And who doesn't want to just have a little bit of something that's easy, you know?
Yeah, that brought some difficulty and social change for a lot of people. And that toughness of life, right? Trying to keep up with the stuff that our culture makes us keep up with, debt, credit cards, and blah, blah, blah.
That
can exhaust you.
Yeah, that's almost kind of a cult. Whoa,
Cult.
I'm sorry, not cult. Yeah.
Okay, should we show
cultural? It's so beautiful, you guys.
All right.
And it looks more vibrant even than that. It's so pretty. Oh, wow. Okay. So what you're saying with all of that stuff is like the algorithm of our culture. I'm sorry, I'm going a little bit deeper here.
That's right. Go for it.
That we have all these things that society tells us, all the videos recommended for us, right? On YouTube, it's you should be this and you should do that. And oh, you're a woman, you should act like this. Or you're a man, you should act like that. And you are from here, so you should be like that. It's the algorithm of our culture. It is.
That's great. Yeah.
And we don't have to listen to that stuff.
The algorithm of our culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we could be aware of that, we don't have to listen to those voices. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you. We can explore you can explore whatever you want to explore. You don't have to just do what everyone says you should do. It doesn't have to be that way.
Because what we're kind of saying, the algorithm, when we say that, what we're saying, gosh, it's going to sound really bad, mind control. But we're sort of talking about some really powerful influences on our minds. And that's what you're talking about here. Our culture has so many things that when we're on that default mode, that is the just assumption of how things are. That is the reality.
Yeah.
We look at how people could put money, an imaginary thing, right, that we're all agreeing upon, in front of the life of another person sometimes. I mean, arguably, there's a lot of companies doing that in front of the lives of a lot of people. And that's a sickness in our mind. When we start to confuse the socially created realities for a deeper reality.
Yeah.
Deeper reality that we all know that there's no amount of money that's worth destroying another innocent person's life.
Right.
So how does this happen? Why do we fall for this? These are big questions. But individually, we can start to free ourselves of this. And the real way to do it isn't just by not hitting autoplay or looking and seeing how you're going to be fed, the options for how Facebook is going to feed you information. The real solution is to be aware of our mind's activity and to consciously make decisions. This is the hard stuff.
It's thinking for yourself. And that I say that as though it's casual, but it can be really hard because you kind of have to stop and ask, whose belief is this? Is this actually my belief? Is this actually the action I want to take? Or is it my culture? Is it my mom's voice in my head? Is it me trying to be the best child I can be, or the best whatever? What message is it? Is it my thing? Is it what I truly believe? And maybe if I'm unsure, then they say, well, what could the other side be? Is there another side that I'm not seeing? And it's hard to think for yourself when you don't maybe even have all the information, because there's an algorithm on YouTube, on Facebook, on social media, Google, whatever, and in our life. There's this algorithm that's happy to come in and have the next video ready for you to play.
Here's some sad news.
Great.
Willpower.
Willpower?
Yeah, developing willpower. That's one of our best tools that we can use here. It's sad because it's hard, right? I mean, again, being sold that easy is good. It's really tough when we say, what's the solution? Well, build up willpower. You can do this over the next 5 years. And here's how you do it. And I think you've watched videos on willpower. You probably know about it. Every time you exercise your willpower, it gets a little bit stronger as long as you don't break. So you have to very selectively build this up over time. But willpower, being conscious, trying to make decisions based on what you know is going to feel good for you, not just what's going to be easy or convenient. And challenging ourselves. If we can challenge our own thinking, if we can become people that love to say, okay, I feel super, super strongly about this. So you know what I want? I want to challenge this really hard and try to find some really good counter arguments. To me, those are the super exciting people to talk with. They have very vibrant minds. They love to explore, right? They're not just quoting things that they've heard and saying, no, it's like this, it's like this, which is becoming pervasive in a culture that feeds us the same information over and over again. Often we're just repeating words that we've heard somebody else say.
We don't even necessarily know are true, and they could have been repeated from someone, hearing it from someone else. I think it's important to talk to other people, ask them their thoughts, and then ask them the opposite, and investigate together as well with various different people. And if you run into someone who is just repeating things, you can have a little compassion and realize maybe they're stuck in an algorithm, and that's okay. And then find someone else to talk about, or find something that they could teach you, maybe that's opposite of what you think. It requires an openness and a kind of self-honesty. I think that's really important too.
This is why I'm kind of excited about more and more people signing up for Patreon and getting a community there. Because I know, because I've had some conversations, there are some people on our YouTube channel here who are incredible thinkers, who you can take the most cherished thing that they hold to be the biggest truth, and you can challenge it, and they'll say, wow, that's cool, let me think about that. They won't go and just try to sit there and defend themselves. Those, that's a rarity, but we have these people right here. Probably a lot of you are like that. So if we could be getting together, talking, having conversations about things like this, it could be super, super exciting. Take that poll for us and help us to understand what would be best for you. Any other big tips on just how to trash the algorithm?
Well,
I said like.
We
did a whole video on that.
Man.
Not saying like.
I think sometimes just doing a quick media tech fast and taking 4 hours, or saying, hey, when I get home from work, phones off, computers off, not doing any of that. Sometimes taking time away from all of that world can just help us see a little bit more clearly. Sometimes the distance shows things more as they are than how it seems to us when we're in it. So, and that I think sometimes helps with willpower too, is to just rest yourself for a second, so that you're super strong when you go back. And then remember, every time you practice a willpower or you say, I'm not going to watch this next video, it's just that one. Every time only has to be the one thing.
That's a great method. Yeah.
Don't make it, this huge, I have to have the whole day or this whole time I'm on the computer. It's just this one thing right now. Can you just not do this one thing, or just turn your mind and look at this other thing instead? So
yeah, those media fasts are powerful. It doesn't have to be 3 months or ReWild You. It can be just even taking 3 hours during a day to be completely off can let our mind kind of settle a little bit. But there's another thing that can be really useful, and that's partnering up with somebody. So when you're partnered up with somebody and you have somebody else that's going to help you to monitor your intake of media, or a discussion partner who you can discuss things with, this really changes things around. So if I'm trying to learn about something and I'm just getting my information from YouTube or Google, that's going to be very different than talking with a real life human being who has ideas and experiences. It can help me sometimes to shift my perspective. And on the partnering up with somebody to check on your media, I'll tell you at night, did I watch any junk videos? And they'll say, yeah, I watched some junk videos. And then I have to answer to you. That reduces my tendency to want to do that. You're not forcing me to do that. No. But I do that willingly, knowing that it's it gives me a willpower boost.
Yeah. Right? And I think it's nice at the end of the day, because I don't mean you have to do it at the end of the day, but when all is said and done, we'll often say, okay, well, kind of what was it? Was it fun? What were you looking for? What did you get from it? And a lot of times you'll say, I really wasn't satisfied. What led me to do that wasn't fulfilled. And I would have been far more fulfilled if I had gone for a walk, or I had engaged one of the girls in, some kind of a board game or a learning session. And it's useful for our minds to see that maybe all those algorithms don't actually lead to us feeling satisfied.
That's honestly, I struggle with this sometimes because I'm on the computer a lot and doing, editing and answering things. And then there comes the algorithm and some offer.
Here comes the algorithm.
That looks really cool. And it's easy to click on it and just start getting lost. Yeah. You guys are looking at I think you are the person I know that is the most balanced with tech.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. You are so good at that in the sense that you can use it, but it doesn't suck you in. And you're able to just say yes or no. I know people that just, nope, not going to use it. That's one thing. To be able to use a tool, but use it with wisdom and have the willpower and strength to do it. Yeah, you just rock.
Oh, thanks.
So much to respect in you. If we can all be more like her.
Oh gosh, no, don't go there.
When we use this technology, we'd be in a good place, because then it would be working for us. So I think that's it. We're going to sign off.
Okay. And
sending you all love. Do check that poll out and give us some feedback there. And I'm kind of excited about a live stream idea. Trying to live stream.
Oh yeah, great.
Is that exciting to you?
Well, then when we, sneeze or whatever, we can't edit it out.
I'm not going to edit out that sneeze.
No.
Oh,
all right.
I want to be real.
Maybe not too real.
No. Okay. I was just going to do something.
See, that's where you can't edit those things out. That's what makes me a little nervous.
I know.
But no, so let's use the community we have right now. In the comments, share, are there other places you can go where you don't have to live by the algorithm as much? What are your thoughts about it? How do you escape the algorithm of our culture? Just anything. It's really, really fun to hear, because you are such amazing thinkers.
Share your wisdom, your inspiration, your thoughts, and love to you all. Talk with you in the comments.